YouTube Ozzico in the Goat House is back. We got bold predictions today sent in by you guys. Do this video every single Thursday. You guys send in some bold predictions on Twitter. I'll send out a tweet. You guys will reply to it. Kind of skim through the comments, pick out some ones that stand out here, and we kind of break them down here. Sometimes we have bold takes for the upcoming week, sometimes for the season. So excited to break it down, as always. Any link you're looking for, anything on your screen that you're looking at that you're interested in, pinned in the comment section, so check it out. First one is a trade deadline one, pretty much. Sauceda, sure. Panthers versus Bucks will be the last game we see Christian McCaffrey in a Panthers uniform. Yeah, that's a good one because, I mean, one second you're hearing that maybe the Panthers aren't dying to trade him. Then next second, you're hearing all these teams are calling about him. Next second, you're hearing the Panthers are interested in taking calls, but they're looking for at least a first-round pick. So you're thinking, yeah, probably not going to happen. But kind of the reports today are saying it's really heating up. Panthers definitely looking to gain some picks back here. They're short on picks, upcoming draft, of course. So it's starting to feel more and more likely, right? But when's it going to happen? That's the big question. So could he play? Some people are talking like it's going to happen like now or tomorrow. I don't think that's the case, but some people are talking like that. So that would mean he already played his last game in a Panthers uniform. And then some people believe that it could be after this game, maybe a team getting him, preparing him for next week. But we still got one more game the Panthers do against the Falcons before that trade deadline hits. So that's why this is an interesting one. He could be traded now. He could be traded after the Bucks game. He could be traded after the next game. It's possible. I'm going to say, just based on what we're hearing today, it just sounds realistic. And that, the Panthers losing once again last week, not being able to do anything on offense. They know they need a lot of work to do they have a lot of work to do on offense for sure. They're kind of in that rebuild stage. They need more picks. So you can't just go trade some guys and get a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, those types of guys to kind of regain your picks and then put yourself in a position to go find a quarterback, have that ammunition, I would say. So you're going to need to trade some valuable guys is my point. So I think it's pretty realistic, actually. So we'll see. I'm excited. There's a lot of players' names getting thrown around for the trade deadline. We're going to make some videos for sure. This week, and then definitely more leading up to the trade deadline, kind of similar to all the trade videos we usually do. KC fam, the next coach fired will be Cliff Kingsbury. A lot of people calling for Cliff to be fired. He's kind of the one, we saw Matt Rule fired, and then he was kind of the one talked about most by fans, like needs to be fired, finally gets fired. And now, other guys we had in that conversation, maybe Ron Rivera, who's coming off a whim, and the Commanders might hesitate to fire anyways. And then Frank Reich, who's kind of turned things around, did a very good job coaching that last game, I might say, as well. And then Kingsbury, the Cardinals are extremely disappointing. So that's probably why he's being talked about the most, probably, out of these next coaches. But I don't want to go piping. I'm pretty close to going piping, but I'm going to go hot. It's actually tricky here. The next coach, so it doesn't have to be. I'm still saying hot. There. I was originally thinking, because maybe no other coaches are fired this season. Maybe they wait till the offseason, and maybe it's Kingsbury. But they just extended him before this season. They have him there for a reason. There's not too many coaches that have a system that kind of fits what the Cardinals have. Mainly Kyler Murray kind of needs that. Remember the pre-draft, there's a lot of teams that would not have taken him first, or he wasn't going to be the first quarterback off the board according to other teams. It's because they didn't really view him fitting NFL systems. And the Cardinals are kind of running a college system. They're kind of running a spread offense there. And not a lot of teams are running that. They still don't want to run it. I know we're gearing a lot more towards college. I think on defense a lot of extra guys in the secondary, but there's not too many coaches that are available, whether it's in NFL or college, that will run this type of offense that they're looking to run. So there are better guys than Kingsbury in college, of course. Lincoln Riley always gets brought up, but I think it's very unlikely he leaves USC at this point, and it was unlikely he was leaving Oklahoma. He didn't for the NFL in the past as well. Teams were interested, and other coaches like that. There's other big-time college coaches that probably would just stay put, kind of have it made at their big-time school. And then there's other coaches that can run the system like Kingsbury, but the Cardinals just feel that Kingsbury is just better, and I can't really than those guys, and I can't really blame them for that. So they're in a little bit of a situation because especially when they extended their quarterback, there's not, who are they going to hire, basically. That's what it is. Like, who is going to come in and really get that right system and make Kyler Murray even better. He's got to be a lot better than what he's been recently, but that is the tricky situation. I'm gonna say it's hot take there. I'm not really expecting it. Most people are, but they don't really realize why he's there, why they extended him, how him and Kyler Murray are that connected there with that system. People don't really realize that. So it's an interesting topic for sure. Christopher Thompson, the New York Jets will make the playoffs for the first time since 2010. Yeah, it's been a long time. Is that Mark Sanchez? I saw this one. I thought it was a pretty good one for kind of a season hot take. And I was looking at the rest of the Jets' schedule. It's a winnable game this week. Basically, what I came to is they're going to win somewhere between, you'd like to think they get over 7, but I'll say somewhere between 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around that, probably the 8, 9, 10 range. And I thought most likely, because I was kind of going over scenarios, like they could win this one or they can lose that one. So out of those games, I didn't have them winning every single one. I didn't have losing every single one. They're probably going to split some of those games, those tough ones. So I came across around 9 wins with different scenarios that I did. Will that be enough to get in the playoffs? That is the question. And the AFC, probably not. They definitely could win 10 games. Who knows? They might win 11. But it's a tough one. I'm gonna say warm though. It's hard to say hot because right now they look really good. They're only getting better. I mean, they have a young team, so they're going to continue to get better. They're good on both sides of the ball. Right now they're 4-2. They're playing a lot better than a lot of teams in the NFL. I'm still not counting on it, but I think it's somewhat realistic here. I'm gonna say it's warm. It's an interesting one. Really think about, will the Jets be in the playoffs? Next, from who is Jonathan? Falcons get 3+ sacks, hold the Bengals offense to 20 or less. I think they get 3 sacks. So I saw this one. I'm like, that's not bold enough, but I saw the rest of it. So they got to get 3+ sacks, hold the Bengals offense to 20 or less. 3 sacks I think will happen. Hold the Bengals offense 20 or less. I'm gonna say it's hot. 20 or less does it for me. That makes it hot. I really think the Bengals are scoring more than 20. I wish they did 24 or less. That would make it very difficult for me here. Get 3+ sacks and hold the Bengals to 24 or less. That would make it difficult for me to decide. I like the matchup for the Bengals. That's why I don't think the Falcons can hold them under 20. The Falcons run a lot of man coverage, plus Casey Hayward's out. The Bengals are going to love all that, what I just said. They kind of figured something out last week offensively, so I think they get going in this one. I didn't say it was piping because it's definitely possible. I think that, again, the 3+ sacks I think should happen. Maybe one Grady Jarrett sack, or maybe more than one. Maybe Ebiketie gets a sack. A blitz, Rashaan Evans maybe on a sack. Maybe they'll get 4. Maybe there's one of those guys gets 2. I think that part's definitely. I'd say that's happening. 20 points is so low, I think, for the Bengals in this matchup. It's possible though, but I'm gonna say hot on that one. Yo mama a buns? Is that what it is? Your mama buns, not a buns. Your mama buns. Okay. Sam Darnold comes back and plays the Panthers out of a top 8 pick somehow. I'm gonna say that's piping. And you don't gotta worry about that. I don't think. I don't think Sam Darnold's any better. A quarterback will have any better quarterback play with the Panthers than the other guys Baker Mayfield have had with the Panthers. So they're about to trade some guys away as well. They want the first overall pick at this point. I don't think you got to worry about that. Top 8 pick. Maybe you said top 5. If you said top 5, that would make it a little interesting for me. But I don't even think in that case. I think it's pretty piping. I think you're safe. Panthers hold on to that top 8 pick. Anthony Kramer, 2 divisions will be won by teams with losing records. So I was trying to figure out what divisions. Okay, you got the South of both conference, actually. The AFC South is led by the Titans right now. We've seen them start the year off struggling. Got the Colts in the mix. And the NFC South, surprisingly, is led by a 500 team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who just lost the Steelers. They're not playing good football. So those divisions have an opportunity. Then you take a look at the AFC North. The leader in the AFC North is the Ravens, I think 3-3. So you have an opportunity there. And then surprisingly, the NFC West, 49ers leading that at 3-3. But then you have the Rams that can figure things out. You have the Seahawks. So 4 divisions. 2 just have to happen, so you think it's a possibility. I just still don't see it. I mean, you look at who's most likely to win. We'll start with the NFC South, the Buccaneers. I'd say they got to go over 500. They're 500 right now. I think it's got to happen. They got to go over 500. I really do. And then you look at the NFC West. I think between the Niners, the Rams, I mean, even the Seahawks are playing all right. Between the Niners and the Rams, I know it's tough because the Niners are so beat up, but they could drop another game here this upcoming week. That'd be 2 in a row. And the Rams are struggling. So maybe on that division, but I think between those 2 teams, I think they're too talented to go under 500 or have a losing record. So that would I don't think so. And then you look at the AFC South, which this is probably your best bet. AFC North, I don't think happens. You take a look at the Ravens, and they're more likely to go above 500. The Bengals look like they're starting to figure out something right now, so I think they're above 500. If the Browns kind of just stay close to 500 and then Deshaun Watson comes back, they can go on a streak, obviously, at the end. So I definitely don't think the AFC North. And that leaves the AFC South, which I think is a possibility. I'd say the Titans probably finish over 500, but it's a possibility. So I think your best bet is probably the AFC the AFC South with the. Yes, that's the problem. I think if it was one division, will be one with the losing record. I'd say that would be a little tougher for me. I'm going to say piping actually, because I just don't see. I only can see one. I just don't see the other ones. But who knows? The Bucs just lost to Steelers, so maybe they win a division with a losing record. I guess it's possible. Next up, we got from Nicotine. Dak struggles against the Lions, and it will cause people to actually think Cooper Rush is better, even though he isn't. It's something like I can kind of see, like one of those situations where it's Cooper Rush was very good, and you had all those people talking about, like, Cooper Rush has to keep the job, right? He has to keep the job. If he beats the Eagles, he's got to keep the job, right? People were saying that. I've had people in person asking me these things like that. But then Cooper Rush struggles against the Eagles, of course, so I don't know if anyone's really talking about it. Dak's coming back. He's going to be the starter, so no one's really talking about it anymore. But if Dak loses to the Lions or struggles against the Lions, people will say it. People will say Cooper Rush is better. They should have just kept Cooper Rush. I can just see it. But first, Dak has to struggle against the Lions. That's the worst defense in football. Man, that's a tough one, actually, now that I think about it. He doesn't have to lose. Just has to struggle. Anybody can struggle at any given time. I was going to go hot, but because of the Lions, but I'm actually going to go warm. I can see Dak maybe kind of trying to knock the rust off, doesn't play that great, and people expect teams to score 30 or like 27 plus against the Lions. Maybe he doesn't do that, but they win because their defense still. People are like, Cooper Rush would have done better. Maybe he is better. I can definitely see that. I'm not counting on Dak to struggle, though, but I can see it. And then next up, we got from Lewis, hashtag RIP Dwayne Haskins. Mike Tomlin keeps his streak, and the Steelers end the season above 500. Yeah, we're just so used to that. The Steelers finishing above 500, being a solid team, being a playoff team. This year feels a little different. It felt like it was a guarantee they weren't going to do that. But then they go and beat the Bucs, beat Tom Brady Bucs there, while using 2 quarterbacks. And, they'll eventually get some of those injured guys back, including TJ Watt. So that is absolutely massive. For the Steelers. So if you look at it that way, it's like, yeah, they probably can figure out and do it. I look at the back end of the schedule, though. It is pretty damn tough. And they're still going to have the quarterback issues, though. So I'm going to say it's hot, above 500. I'm going to say it's hot, actually. Don't want to go piping because they're going to get guys back. It's the Steelers. They can figure out a way. I'm just really not counting on it, though. I'm probably closer to going warm. But It's a tough one there. It's a tough one for the Steelers to make the playoffs this year or go over 500. Cameron DeWeese, Nick Chubb, and Lamar Jackson both have 100-plus rushing yards. Yeah, it's a tough one, too, because first glance, I'm like, yeah, I know Nick Chubb will. Lamar probably should. I think he should have a good outing against the Browns. I think he probably should. Dealing with the hip injury, though, that's pretty tough. So that makes it pretty difficult. Teams throwing the ball pretty well on the Browns. To me, they air it out a little bit more. I'm still going to say realistic. If it wasn't for that hip, I would actually say it's happening. I'd be feeling it in this matchup. Both these guys getting over 100. Ravens play pretty solid run D, but I still think Chubb will. I'm going to say realistic, probably more closer going warm than it's happening at this point, mainly because that Lamar hip injury. And then one more, Phillip Johnson. Taylor Heineke throws for 3 touchdowns, and the Commanders beat the Packers as Green Bay drops their 3rd straight game. Hard to see the Packers lose another one, but they could. They're just struggling right now. They're getting outplayed by teams that shouldn't be getting outplayed by. Commanders. I think the big thing here is the kind of the film/game plan situation, because there's only film on the Wentz Commanders. You bring in Heineke, he's healthy. Wentz wasn't. Maybe you throw in some more RPO because they ran an insane amount of it last year. And they've been running some at Wentz, but not as much as I would have thought, actually. They're trying to get Robinson going. Which running back they can use more. Dotson's trying to come back. I don't think he plays this week, but basically the kind of lack of you're not really as prepared as most teams are in a Week 7 game. So that could be a reason Heineke has a good game, throws 3 touchdown passes, and beats the Packers. I think the throwing of 3 touchdown passes actually might be the tougher part here, because I think I could see him throwing for, I think 2 is way more realistic. Maybe he runs one in, or maybe he, but yeah, I can see between Robinson and Gibson, I can see them contributing touchdowns maybe more. And they have to beat the Packers. I did pick the Packers, but it's possible the Commanders could figure it out. I'm going to say hot. I can't go piping because Heineke could have a good game and they can beat the Packers, but I'm really not counting on it. It's pretty specific now that I'm thinking about it as well. Like 3 touchdowns is actually, and they're more likely to beat the Packers than have him having 3 passing touchdowns. Total touchdowns may be different, but yeah, if the Packers lose again, there's some panic time in Green Bay, I suppose. So we'll see. I'm not really counting on it, but wasn't counting on it last week either. But that'll wrap up this week's bold predictions. Thank you for playing along. A lot of you guys tweet at us when I post that tweet there, and I kind of skim through. So I appreciate everyone who played along here. Sorry if I didn't see your tweet, but yeah, check us out on Twitter. Link pinned in the comments for that. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. We have full NFL coverage here, weekly picks, and a lot more. Trade deadline videos will be in the works. There'll be multiple of them, but a lot of updates on things like that on our Twitter, so it's another good reason to follow that. But that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.